This opening is about a person realizing someone has reached a depth of understanding that feels impossible to explain. The speaker begins by saying they won't soften the truth anymore. They are preparing the listener for something intense, not a normal conversation, but a realization that has been building silently. The main ideas in this part. Emotional distance as protection. The speaker explains that they have always kept layers between themselves and others. Not because they don't care, but because distance helps them stay protected and in control. Most people only see the surface. They believe people usually understand only the version of them that they choose to show. Others try to analyze, label, or simplify them instead of truly seeing them. Then someone different appears. The person being addressed doesn't try to figure them out. They don't force answers or create assumptions. They simply observe and understand, a rare kind of connection. The speaker notices that this person understands things that were never spoken. The pauses, the silence, the hidden thoughts. This feels different from normal connection. The fear of being truly seen. The speaker's conflict begins here. They are used to controlling who gets access to their inner world. But this person seems to bypass those defenses naturally. I spent my life controlling how much people could see of me, but you understood me without trying to break through my walls, and that changed everything. In this part, the speaker moves from being surprised by the connection to realizing how deeply it is affecting them, the main ideas. The connection feels effortless. The speaker explains that this person didn't force their way into their life or try to cross boundaries. They simply existed in a way that made those boundaries feel unnecessary. Silence becomes meaningful. The speaker highlights that this person understands quiet moments. They don't rush to fill silence or demand explanations. They allow the speaker to exist naturally. A change begins internally. The speaker notices they are no longer filtering themselves as much. Normally, they carefully decide what to reveal and what to hide, but around this person that process disappears. Acceptance without trying to fix. A powerful theme appears. The person doesn't try to change the speaker. They don't ask them to become softer, easier, or more expressive. They accept what is already there. Being truly seen feels dangerous. The speaker says there is a difference between someone accepting you because they don't fully understand you and someone accepting you because they see everything and still choose to stay. The most powerful thing about you is not that you discovered my hidden parts. It's that you saw them and didn't try to change them. This part explores the fear of being completely understood. The speaker realizes that the connection is no longer just about comfort. It is challenging the identity they have carefully built, main ideas, the loss of control. The speaker has always controlled access to themselves, who gets close, what they reveal, and how much others know. But this person changes that without forcing anything. Being known is different from being liked. The speaker explains that many people see only a version of someone. This person sees deeper, not through assumptions, but through genuine awareness. Protection through being misunderstood. The speaker admits that staying unreadable was a form of protection. If people don't fully understand you, they can't easily reshape or hurt what they don't truly see. This person doesn't project onto them. Instead of creating their own version of the speaker, they accept the reality in front of them. They don't fill the gaps with guesses. A small moment becomes proof. The speaker remembers a simple thing this person said. It wasn't dramatic, but it matched something the speaker had never expressed. That moment created a realization this person wasn't guessing, they were truly noticing. I built my life around staying unreadable, but you understood me without trying to decode me, and that made my defenses feel unnecessary. This part moves deeper into the idea of alignment. The feeling that this connection is not built only on emotions, but on a similar way of thinking and existing, main ideas. Understanding becomes something deeper. The speaker realizes this is not just about someone noticing their behavior. It feels like the other person understands their internal structure. The way they process, observe, and experience the world converge through similarity. The speaker describes that the bond is not based on shared history or the same experiences. Instead, it comes from something underneath, similar patterns of thought and perception. Structure instead of temporary emotion. The speaker believes emotions can change, but this kind of connection feels more stable because it comes from how both people are built internally. The difficulty of maintaining distance. The speaker admits that distance no longer works the same way. Normally, keeping space helps them stay in control, but this person already feels present beyond that distance. The realization becomes unavoidable. The speaker is not overwhelmed by chaos, they are affected by clarity. The hardest part is not confusion. It is that everything feels too accurate to ignore. This doesn't feel powerful because it is intense. It feels powerful because it feels naturally aligned, like something that makes sense without needing to be explained. This part focuses on the moment where the connection stops being something the speaker simply notices and starts becoming something that changes their inner world. Main ideas. The person becomes part of the speaker's thinking. The speaker explains that this is no longer just thinking about someone. Instead, this person has become part of how they process thoughts, feelings, and situations, a shift in the internal world. The speaker notices small changes. Thoughts feeling like they have another perspective attached, silence feeling less empty, certain realizations feeling shared even without communication, a challenge to independence. The speaker has always been self-contained and used to relying only on themselves. The surprising part is that this person's entered that private space without force or permission, not influence, but impact. The speaker makes an important distinction. This person is not controlling or changing them intentionally. Their presence simply leaves an effect that remains. Resistance disappears. Normally, the speaker would create distance from anything that threatens their structure. But instead of pushing away, they find themselves making room. You didn't change me by trying to change me. Your presence quietly became part of the way I understand myself and the world around me. This part is about the speaker realizing that this connection has reached a point where it can no longer be ignored or kept at a distance. Main ideas. The connection has become permanent in some way. The speaker explains that this is no longer just a passing feeling or temporary curiosity. It has become something integrated into their thoughts and awareness. A new baseline has formed. Before this person existed in their life, the speaker had a stable way of thinking and operating. Now that foundation has shifted, and everything is being compared against this new experience. The fear of change. The speaker is someone who normally controls what affects them. The uncomfortable part is that this change happened naturally, without them choosing it. Acceptance replaces resistance. They admit that they should have pulled away, analyzed it, or ended it, but they didn't. Instead, they allowed it to exist. The question changes. The speaker stops asking, "What is this?" and begins asking, "What happens if this continues?" I'm not struggling because I don't understand this. I'm struggling because I understand it enough to know it has already changed me. This part reaches the point where the speaker faces the consequences of accepting the connection. The uncertainty is no longer about whether it exists, but about what to do with it. Main ideas. Awareness becomes responsibility. The speaker says, there comes a moment when you can no longer just observe something. You have to respond to it. This connection has reached that stage. Internal change is undeniable. The speaker notices that their thoughts, silence, and understanding of things have shifted because of this person. Even without actions or words, something has already changed. The fear of defining it. The speaker has avoided naming the connection because giving it a definition makes it real. Once it becomes real, it requires choices, risks, and honesty, control versus uncertainty. The speaker usually needs understanding before making decisions, but this situation does not offer a clear path. It cannot be managed like everything else. The strongest proof is staying. The speaker realizes that if this connection was wrong or meaningless, they would have already walked away. The fact that they stayed reveals its importance. I've spent so long trying to understand what this is, but the bigger truth is that I've already shown what it means by the fact that I didn't leave. This final part is about acceptance. The speaker reaches the point where they stop fighting the reality of the connection and recognize that it has already become meaningful. Main ideas, the question changes completely. The speaker is no longer asking, "Is this real?" They have accepted that it is real. The new question is, what will I do with it? Something important cannot remain undefined forever. The speaker understands that deep connections eventually need honesty. They either grow into something clearer or become damaged by being ignored. A quiet choice has already been made. Even without saying anything or taking action, the speaker realizes their behavior already shows a decision. They allowed this person closer than anyone else. This connection does not weaken them. The speaker emphasizes that allowing someone in is not a loss of independence. It is a change created by something meaningful. Final realization. The person is no longer just someone the speaker understands. They have become part of the speaker's way of understanding life itself. I didn't choose when this person became important to me. It happened quietly, but now I have to acknowledge that it already changed the way